When I came to, all I saw around me was darkness and a road sign that read Freudenberg, 30 miles away. How did I get here? All I remember is the shock of realizing that Linda had cruelly and cowardly abandoned me to go sleep with an arrogant piece of shit soccer player in his home, no doubt a huge mansion, without a condom, as I know arrogant assholes like him do, some kind of Valentine's Day celebration. As I gathered my thoughts, the 25-mile marker flashed by. What the hell? I might just crash there for the night, or what's left of it. Motel 6 was the first sign I saw, and as promised, they left a light on for me. I tossed the bag we had packed for the hotel onto the floor of my room and collapsed onto the bed. The next thing I heard was a surprised sigh. "I'm sorry." I knocked, but no one answered. The cleaning lady backed off when I told her she should be back in an hour. I was so knocked out that I didn't even hear her knock or the usual cleaning warning. After showering and putting on some fresh clothes I had packed for the trip home from another hotel, I headed to a nearby diner for a greasy breakfast. While waiting for the server and food, I turned on my phone to scroll through messages and voicemails. It only took a second or two because there were none. No one knew or cared where I was or what had happened to me. Everyone had their own lives, and it was the weekend. And this bitch was probably already indulging in sexual ecstasy with her new stud from the morning, not thinking about her 10-year-old loser husband or her kids. Those who knew what had happened probably assumed I'd dragged myself home, tail tucked, and waited. As they said, I would handle myself and survive. After all, it was just one night, right? Which she deserved, because hadn't she been chosen by the city's great soccer god? I'd be fine, no need to check, except I wasn't. After breakfast, I went to the Walmart supercenter, bought a few changes of clothes, and headed back to the motel to extend my stay a few more nights. Back in my room, I opened up my laptop and started keeping up with what was going on in the rest of the world. As I quickly discovered, not much. Not knowing what else to do, I took to social media. Nothing much going on there either. Maybe shame Linda on her Facebook page? Before deciding, I Googled the asshole she was probably saying goodbye to even while surfing. Down below the Google strings dedicated to the league, the team, and the charities he supported, I came across a strange post. Someone had apparently videotaped asshole Lavaliere from the moment he appeared at Morrison's last night. Who did it, and why did they do it? According to the narrator, he wanted to see which married woman the arrogant prick would choose to cuckold the next hapless husband last night. Apparently, this wasn't the first time the stud had done this, and the poster knew it, because the moment Linda went to the restroom, the videographer got up and went to the side entrance. Asshole's teammates didn't suspect he was aware of the conspiracy and didn't pursue him. The video captures asshole starting up his Escalade, which he illegally parked in a handicapped spot. The soccer gods apparently don't get fined for this kind of self-parking. Then he rolled it up to the side entrance and waited until Linda, with a wide grin on her face, climbed inside and took his hero's lips in a long, thick kiss. After cleaning her tonsils for a minute or 5, he put his monster SUV in gear and drove off, king of the world. When the noise died down, the soft announcer's voice from the Google poster said clearly, "That's exactly how he ruined my marriage a week ago. And everyone thinks this asshole is a hero. When is someone going to expose him?" Downloading the video as proof of my inevitable divorce, I watched it a few more times through tears. Finally, I unclenched my fist and texted the guy. "I'm the husband. Do you have any other videos of him pulling similar stunts?" After waiting for a few minutes and getting no response, I lay down again and sank into waves of fatigue and depression. I was awakened by the phone ringing. Linda. "Hi, Jim, I'm back. Where are you?" "Gone. I moved out after you left me." "What? I didn't dump you. I'm standing in our kitchen. Where are the kids?" "You definitely left me, you cruel, cowardly cunt," I growled. She gasped. I'd never spoken to her like that in the 12 years we'd known each other. I was on a roll, though. "Not a word. You just lied to me about going to the bathroom and you left to have fun with a soccer player. If that's not leaving me, I don't know what is." "I didn't leave you. Dee told you I'd be back today, and here I am. Are the kids with you?" "No. I figured that when you got back to the planet where the others live, you'd realize you still had responsibilities and pick them up. What, you just left them with Mrs. Porter? Well, yes, I figured you'd know how to handle it since you're the new expert on absentee parenting and all. Jim, stop it. I told you I never left you. I'm in our house and you're not. Damn right you are. I'll never be in the same building with you again, ever, you nasty bitch. If I thought I'd instilled guilt in her, I was thinking of something else. Oh, get over yourself and stop reacting. It was just one night. I'm sorry, honey, I must have missed that part. When you were so insistent about blowing me off if I left you for one night, I missed the part that said it wouldn't hurt you if you made it a one-night stand with a celebrity. After a pause, I continued. Yeah, no. Upon further review, I don't think I missed anything. We never talked about any exceptions, one and done. Didn't you coin that phrase? So, no, I'm not exaggerating. If anything, you're reacting inappropriately because suddenly it suits your promiscuous purposes. You did this and that, and now it's over between us, you unfaithful bitch. You can't make and change the rules on a whim. Exaggerating, my ass. I was still furious. You cheated, you're mean and cruel, abandoning me to my fate while everyone laughed at your weak, horny husband. So no, I'm not going back. I hope the night of sex with your new boyfriend was worth it, because you just ruined a happy 10-year marriage. Good for you, you narcissistic bitch. Now, I suggest you go get the kids. Before she could respond, I ended the call and turned my phone off. When I opened my laptop again, Vince, the guy who posted the video, had already responded. No, that was the first video I'd ever made. He did it last week with my wife. We traveled all the way from Freudenberg to celebrate our 5th anniversary at Morrison's. Now, not only are we not celebrating an anniversary, but we are no longer together. Me. Are you in Freudenberg? Him. Sure, where are you? Me. At the Motel 6 on the east side of town, next to Denny's restaurant. He. Do you want to meet me there? I was wearing a maroon sweatshirt with our high school team logo on it. Vince looked to be in his early 20s, professional looking, trim enough but not a bodybuilder, with brown eyes and dark brown hair. After introductions, he said, So, what's your story? How did last night happen? In the middle of my somber story, his phone rang. Lifting a finger, he said, I have to take this, sorry. It's Vince. Hi, Tony, thanks for calling me back. Hold on a second. We need to get off so I can put you on speakerphone. He waved for me to follow him. We walked outside, and as we approached his SUV, he opened it and we got in. Okay, Tony, you're not going to believe this. The guy from the video whose wife was kidnapped last night is talking to me. Tony, I'd like you to meet Jim Carlisle. Jim, meet Tony Stevens, reporter for the Freudenberg Tribune. Jim, I called Tony this morning to tell him about the video. He wanted it posted on a public website so he could react to it as a reporter to an independent news story. What do you mean independent? I asked. Tony is my cousin. If he finds the article on Google, no one can accuse him of using the paper to avenge my lost marriage. Okay, whatever. Tony asked. Jim, right? Tell me the whole story. Do you mind if I tape it? Vince replied, Hey, why don't we meet in your office? It's warm there. After all, it was the 1st of March and damn cold, and the snow was still on the ground from the previous dump. Thinking has to be done for a mind like that to ever rot, Tony replied with a laugh. I'll meet you there. Tony's office was warm, coffee, a conference room, and all the electronic aids one would expect from someone who produces news. Starting the tape, Tony explained that ever since Vince had confronted Lavaliere last week, he'd been looking for what he could do to keep this guy from destroying more marriages and find a way to enact some form of retribution. In the course of my research, I found out that this asshole's main goal is not to get sex. If that were the case, you'd expect him to have single and married women, but apparently he chooses married women exclusively. Why? He seems to have some sort of insecurity and enjoys humiliating other men. A bully, in other words, I pondered. So his main target last night wasn't Linda, but me. But why? I mean, we don't even know each other. The only thing I can surmise is uncontrolled competitiveness. By giving a guy the most beautiful woman in the room, he's validating his superiority, sort of. That's why he insists on taking the women home the next day so his husband can see who humiliated him. Better looks, more fame, more money, and of course, his classic $1 million Ferrari. His mission is not complete until he looks his husband in the eye and sees defeat there. I could only shake my head. What does it say about our society that it not only allows a violent, narcissistic jerk to walk free on the loose, but rewards him so excessively? That's probably why he's so good on the soccer field, Vince said. He pushes it into the defenders who cover him. He makes it personal. Interesting theory, I offered. But in the meantime, Vince's marriage is ruined, and I'm sure mine is too. Someone has to stop this guy. It's just ridiculous. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, Tony said. Because of who he is, the league, the team, and the players' union will throw all their billions at stopping any reporter trying to smear a key cog in their money-making machine. Turning to me, he continued, Vince's footage is good, but for it to really matter, I need to tell your story. Are you willing to do that? Sure. I've got nothing to lose anymore, I shrugged. Oh, you'll be surprised. You'll be belittled and ridiculed. Your kids at school will be bombarded with all sorts of innuendos, not the least of which will be that you're a child molester or pedophile, and they're covering for you. You need to think hard. Do you know a good lawyer? Yes. Amidst all the averments and failures in my family, we had an experienced, insightful, and successful attorney who called himself by his initials, LW. Do you want me to call him? It wouldn't hurt to talk. As soon as we're done here, I said. What are your plans for this story? The second coming of Ray Rice, Tony replied, referring to the 2014 events surrounding the Baltimore Ravens star running back. What do you mean? The NFL commissioner was hesitant to do the he said, she said thing until TMZ published a video of him punching his girlfriend. That video pretty much ended his career, even though he was one of the league's best running backs. But no one hit anyone last night. I know, but that's not the point. The point is that the aftermath of the Rice incident showed everyone that videotaping any event becomes more important than the event itself. That's why I've asked Vince to see if he can back up his claims with actual video. It may take some time, but once that video hits the internet, Lavaliere's career will be over. We're still 6 months away from the start of next season. Plenty of time to cook his goose. The NFL or the Sharks will no longer be able to gloss over his behavior. I want to find as many other victims of his cuckolding campaign as possible to support Vince. If we can get 1 or 2 more people to come forward and corroborate your stories, it will hopefully exonerate you both from those who think you are wimps for letting a soccer player steal your wives so easily. It would really help the story if you agreed to be interviewed as a victim on video. It will give the story real power. What do I have to lose? If Tony releases the video without my name, everyone we know will recognize Linda and me. Our kids would be no better off than if our names came out and I told my story in detail. Okay, let's do it. Around 5, Tony finished his story and made a 20-second teaser video to send to TMZ. Why? I asked. I mean, you've got it all on your website. But no one will see it. TMZ has 100 million viewers. I'll have them include a link to our article for those who want the details. All they need is viewers on their site, so if we host the video, it saves them a couple cents. It's a win-win. If I send it out tonight, they'll have it ready to release tomorrow for their viewers as well as the national media, who will be hungry for a day of unhurried news. No one could argue with that logic. Armed with a copy of the video, I went across the room, opened my laptop, and emailed it to LW asking them to call me. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. How the hell did this happen? He asked. Good evening to you too, Uncle, I replied. It was just like you saw on the video. We were supposed to celebrate a belated Valentine's Day because it snowed that day, remember? Oh, crap. I can't believe Linda could pull a stunt like that. Did you two have a fight? Not at all. On the contrary, just a few minutes earlier, she told everyone at our table that she was going to dance with just me all night. I'm even more surprised than you are. Just like that, she cold-bloodedly just left to sleep with that asshole all night long. Didn't even bother to pick up her coat. What are you going to do, son? First thing we're going to do is get TMZ to shoot the video tomorrow and release it to the national media. Because of their reach and its publicity, we expect most of the country to see it by lunchtime tomorrow. Then I hope you can sue to death the NFL, the Sharks, the asshole himself, the club, and all the charities and commercial organizations that sponsor him. What a way to blow the cobwebs off my supposed retirement. You realize the chances of getting any real money from these pigs are slim to none? Maybe. But if anyone can find a way to squeeze a few bucks out of their deep pockets, it'll be you. My main goal, however, is to expose this asshole and ruin his career. Okay. However, exposure can quickly turn against you. Do you have a PR person to coordinate the backlash you'll get? Didn't even think of that. Do you think I need such a person? Whether you need one at all, you'll get hundreds of requests for on-air interviews. Their lawyers will interrogate you and make you make mistakes they'll profit from. They'll turn into an entire school of piranhas aimed at destroying you. Do you know anyone I could find on such short notice? As a matter of fact, I do. She's been in PR for over 10 years and knows hundreds of good people. Her name is Tanya Farnsworth. Would you like her contact information? Please. A few minutes later, Tanya and I started getting to know each other over the phone. I walked into Tony's office. Dude, meet my new PR person. Great. Let me just finish up with the newsletter and put it on our website. I introduced Tony and Tanya and leaned back in my chair while they talked in jargon I didn't understand. After a while, they put the LWs together and all three of them drew up a plan. When their meeting was over, Tanya wanted to talk to me, so I went back to the office Tony had given me to use. I need to get closer to the action. Have you moved back into your house? No, I'm in a neighboring town, living in a Motel 6. Get a room with 3 or at least 2 bedrooms in a decent hotel with fast Wi-Fi for a week starting tomorrow. Don't worry about money. We'll get that sorted out soon. I'll call LW and ask him to join us. Your life is going to be crazy for the next few weeks, and we all need to be there to keep things together and on track. I don't know. Look, now is not the time to be a small-town prude. There won't be time for any monkey business. You just got Tony to declare war on billion-dollar superpowers, and you have no idea who they really are. These guys eat guys like you for breakfast before they order their main course. We'll be renting a short-term house for our headquarters within the week, so be ready. When we hung up the phone, my head spun. In less than 24 hours, my life had gone from preparing for a small, intimate Valentine's Day celebration to a national war with the media and legal authorities. It's like I've just taken a seat in a movie theater, the lights are dimmed, and the biggest blockbuster of all time is about to begin. Except I didn't have any popcorn. Epilogue. TMZ did what they do best. Caused the biggest stir in the sports world. LW sued the league, the team, the union, the hotel, Morrison's restaurant, the band, the lineman who threatened and shoved me, the city for not stopping famous parodies sooner, the companies whose products asshole endorsed, and the charities that traded his fundraising for giving him a good name. Deep pockets as far as the victim's eyes could reach. In his paper, Tony took this approach by suggesting that all previous victims, husbands and wives, go to court and join a possible class action suit against the star for damages and pain. The prospect of getting $1 million or $2 made 11 others swallow their pride and step forward. Each day brought a new revelation. Tanya taped every meeting of people who asked me to back off or tone it down and passed them on to LW and Tony, who turned it into a daily column about the travesties perpetrated by rich people on the ordinary citizens of this world. Linda was toasted for her perfidy. Other wives whose names were revealed were convicted of rudely abandoning their husbands, but they had no dramatic video documenting their cavalier and deliberate betrayal. When Linda's parents were sucked down the flushing toilet, they took her in, but never let her forget their cruelty and cowardice. The kids, as I had hoped, got over it quickly enough when the bonuses started coming to me and I was able to take them on vacations to Disneyland, to Chavash ranches, and camping trips. Buying them toys didn't hurt either. Sure, it made Linda look like a loser, but she had started it all on her own. But most importantly, it was a lot of good times spent together. Along the way, I learned from several husbands in our circle of now ex-friends that for the first few days, Linda bragged to the other wives about how fantastic her night of passion had been. Turns out, Asshole had spent the night with her all night long and had given her so many intense ecstasies that she had lost count. I was more hurt than I can describe when she declared that I was nothing more than mediocre in bedroom skills. Maybe the other husbands in our former group embellished those comments to jab me. I'll never know. But what they did was strengthen my resolve to make her pay, and eventually she did. Apart from that small circle of friends, everyone she knew shunned her, many insulted her. Mrs. Porter refused to sit with children for a cheap whore. Parents of other school children avoided her and scattered when she approached a group. Dee and Dave divorced after discussing her desire to do the same as Linda. Dave later apologized to me for not standing up for me. I didn't care, but since he bought the beer, I told him it was okay. Several national talk shows invited other Tony victims to appear on their daytime programs. One couple even had a dramatic reconciliation when he realized she had been seduced by an expert that a mortal didn't stand a chance against. There were too many victims for Asshole to react to each one individually. His first reaction was the usual politicians: deny, deny, deny. By the third tearful revelation, however, it was clear that he was guilty as sin. Next, he tried to prove that the women had misunderstood his intentions. When two of the husbands detailed how fiercely the attackers, as they were now called, had defended themselves against his abductions, Asshole could no longer resort to the version of misunderstanding. When he tried to resort to the "they wanted it so badly they seduced me" version, however, he was spat out when they, as one woman, portrayed him as a selfish lover interested only in getting pleasure before rolling over on his back and falling asleep. This accusation led to the immediate termination of his last remaining advertisement, male enhancement pills. The only remaining charity was his own, which turned out to be just a scam to hide his money from taxes and lawsuits from cuckolded husbands. When it was discovered that he wasn't actually doing any charity, he was exempted from taxes and was demanded to pay back millions. Marc Lavaliere was forced to resign after one of the cuckold husbands decided to exact old-fashioned revenge by smashing the family jewelry and blowing out his knee and several fingers. My lawsuit and several others ruined him financially, and he ended up selling used cars in Logan, Utah, his hometown. LW turned my divorce over to a buddy of his, who quickly took care of Linda. He also made sure that none of the lawsuit money was awarded to me until the divorce was finalized. Tired of the notoriety in our neck of the woods, I moved to Hawaii. True, the cost of living here in the islands sucked, but living with Tanya more than made up for it. Yeah, after the noise died down, she moved in with me and we got married. We have our first child on the way, but we purposely don't know what it's going to be. Linda and the kids moved to Fresno, California, where no one cared about her past. I paid frequent visits. The kids preferred to see me in Hawaii rather than Fresno. No offense to the lovely people living in Fresno. One day, several years later, Tanya and the kids and I flew back, and as I handed the kids back to Linda, I asked her, "Was your one night of sex worth the price?" She looked at Tanya, tears came to her eyes, and she turned and walked away without a word.